Well, Bethenny, right when I thought you couldn't get any worse, you get worser. This interview was no different than the Howie Mandel, Tom Sandoval interview. Bethany's just as clueless. She has no business being as emotionally driven as she is. If this was an interview that Rachel was giving to someone who was unbiased, like someone who wasn't in the reality TV sphere, then they'd be allowed to be asking questions from a very uneducated place because they don't need to know everything about this story. But Bethany's so biased in this interview, but she doesn't know the full story, which she proves towards the end of part 1. And by the way, I don't know what the deal looked like. I don't know if she paid Rachel for this interview, but I hope to God Bethany's cutting her in for some of these ad sales because she's going to be doing this in 3 parts. Entertainment Tonight confirmed that. And that is a lot of ad revenue. Because when I listened to the first part, I noted that she had at least 3 ad breaks in there, not including the pre-roll and the post-roll, which are the ones that play when you first start a podcast and then at the very end. And so if she's going to do that times 3, is she going to cut Rachel in? Because otherwise I feel like it's sort of the same thing she's concerned about. You're exploiting a topic that you truly don't know everything about, yet you got on your high horse about. She's gotten on her high horse using Rachel as an example, and I assumed she knew the whole story, but she didn't. She doesn't. Okay. So I recorded with Pia yesterday. We recorded a bonus episode all about the current state of Vanderpump Rules. We were working through our feelings about how the cast is filming together, and there are these photos coming out, and the way Sheena's been responding to fans, and the way Sheena and Lala are talking about this on their podcast, all that kind of stuff. And we had a huge section of that where we were pretty sympathetic to Rachel. And the reason was because we're like, how come Tom is going to get away scot-free, basically, and Rachel is, like, exiled by choice? She chose to do that, and it was a good choice. But it's because Tom is a narcissist and doesn't think he did anything wrong. He's not taking any time to reflect. He's like, for what? What did I do? Okay, big deal. And so we were kind of on her side, like, playing devil's advocate a little bit, and not even really devil's advocate, just saying, like, this is an example of how it's unfair, and I want to know if maybe the cast sees how unfair it is, because they both did it, both Tom and Rachel. Then this fucking interview drops. And believe me, I would have had Pia join me for this, but she is unavailable today, and I need to get this episode up because it's vital. And so please refrain from leaving me comments like, I wish Pia was here, but this was okay. Because I don't think you realize how much those kill my soul. I don't know how to reply. I'm like, sorry? Sorry, it's just me? So please refrain from that. I did, but I tried. She's not available. So please refrain from telling me you wish someone else was here because it really hurts my feelings. Okay? Now that I've said that. Getting into this interview, I was going to accept a little bit of Rachel saying, like, I became the punching bag, I became the scapegoat, because it starts off pretty much like that. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'll let you have that. I will. But I thought that the time in the mental health facility was going to give her more of an awareness of, like, why she did what she did. And it seems like it sort of did, but it seems more like what they helped her figure out in the mental health facility was that it really wasn't that bad. And that's a little concerning. Because as much as I know people are like, everyone cheats. If you've been cheated on, and then I think it's a little harder than everybody cheats. You know, it's still a big betrayal. And so I'm going to go through the points that stood out to me because there were quite a few things in here that just confused me, blew my mind, and then made me outwardly angry. Bethenny asks if she's still close with her childhood friends and, like, how they've been handling it. And she says they're the only ones she can trust because a lot of people expose things that she thought were in the vault, and they've exposed those things to the press. And I'm assuming that's got to be like Sheena talking about how when Rachel stayed at her house, she fucked someone in her bed. So I feel like that's got to be some of the stuff. Also, other friends, like Jamie. If you don't know the podcast, Jamie Lynn All Over, I believe that's the name of it. She did a couple tell-alls because she was really tight with this group of friends and with Rachel. And they did an episode. She did an episode with another mutual friend. Neither of these people are on the show, but that you've just seen them at events and stuff. And they exposed. I wouldn't even say it was exposed. It was just gave us context. And I don't, maybe I missed some other salacious stuff, but I'm assuming that's what she's referring to. So now she's only got her childhood friends, and she thought she had friends. She says, I thought I had friends in LA, but I guess not. We will put a pin in that because we're going to circle back to that. B then reads the now deleted apology, because if you missed it, Rachel deleted the apology that she posted, apologizing to Ariana and all that. And then she asks Rachel, is this fully authentic? Like, do you still stand by it? And Rachel says she does. And she talks about how in treatment, what she realized, and then she also said this in the apology, was that she learned that love addiction is real. And okay. I will take that. I'm only going to have one thing to say about this, you guys, just one. Because I don't like to discredit people when they have an epiphany like this. And that epiphany, or that thing is, I've been around people with a sex and love addiction, and it's really uncommon that they remain faithful to any partner because they have an addiction to that drug. And she talks about it, that dopamine hit and all those chemicals that go off when you first start, when you're lusting with someone. Becomes a drug for you and you get addicted to it. And with James, I feel like she was faithful. So I think that it may not be exactly what this is, but maybe just a label they're trying to put on it in order to help her cope or something. I think. Because it just, many years ago, like over a decade ago, when I tried AA, there was a sex and love addiction SLAW meeting right next door to where I had my meeting. So sometimes when we were done, we'd all chit chat and smoke cigarettes, and just the stories they were telling were like all pretty bad. Like, yeah, I could have never been able to be faithful because it's an addiction. I need to have it, blah, 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 blah. So but that's all I'm going to say. I just found that to be a big extreme label to put on her when it's only been James and then Tom. And not everyone who has an affair is a love addict. So whatever, move on. I don't really want to discredit her work, but I'm just going to say that. Bethenny really tries to compare her experience with Rachel's a lot. So she talks about how she planned a wedding on reality TV. And I think she even says something like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't have done that, or things I wouldn't have done, or something like that. And I'm feeling from Bethenny, like, now that it's very clear her reality TV career is over, and now it's very clear that she's not on the best of terms with Bravo and Andy, and that everything she does isn't going to be like applauded because she got so used to special treatment. She doesn't even realize it. But bitch, you got the most specialist of the most special treatments. You got really good edits, and you did not get taken advantage of. You ran your ship and you were proud of it. You talk about it all the time. She's done so many TikToks about how she was in control. She handled it. Her behavior after leaving Housewives is what has been appalling. And for her to try to connect it like this, like Rachel's thing happened on camera and is a direct result of what happened on camera. Bethenny, you're one of the most popular housewives in terms of like memes and moments and quotes. Bravo loved you. Andy loved you. It's been however many years since you were on, and it's like when a sports star stops playing professional sports, they discuss how hard it is to suddenly not have a whole stadium of people applauding you. And it feels like that's what's happening with Bethenny. And she's like, she doesn't know what to do with it. But girl, huh? You wouldn't have had a wedding. You're going to blame that on reality TV also? Like, that is on you. You have to take ownership of your own actions. I worked at a really awful company for 3 years, and they treated me like shit. They treated everyone in my department like shit. It was abusive. It was awful. Horrible job. But I made choices there as well. And I would not blame them for the choices that I made. I can blame them for emotional hardship, and I do. And I can blame them for mishandling things, like when I had a panic attack at work and I had to leave one day because I truly was having like back-to-back panic attacks, because that's the awful environment they had us in. I walked into HR the next day because, they wanted to see what was going on. And the woman goes, "Don't have a panic attack, but I want to talk about what happened on Saturday." I was like, okay, you guys need training. So yes, there are things where like jobs can fuck you up, but you chose to get married to Jason. You're going to blame him for that? Like okay. I got it. Moving on to Rachel. Let me focus a little bit back to her, because then she says to Rachel that she really feeds this to her. She's like, "You're on a show that celebrates affairs." Guys, I know that I'm going to get people that say, well, they did. Everyone has had affairs. I wouldn't say they were celebrated. Everybody had to answer for themselves when they got caught. Kristen did. Tom did. Jax did. The difference is Jax did not give a shit. Tom Schwartz, Schwartz. Schwartz had to eat crow a little bit, but no one really gave a fuck about him hooking up with other chicks behind Katie's back because they didn't like Katie. So who's being celebrated? It's not like Schwartz got a raise when he did shit like that. Or did he? I think this is when they go into the next point. The next point is this. Rachel says that she looked up to her cast members and saw how they made a good reality TV show. And quote, "I wanted to do my job well." Also, she's shocked by how much hate she got when everyone else had been in affairs. Okay, one more time. I'm going to do this again. Not the same. Okay? Not the same. Kristen and Tom, we had just met them. So we only knew them as like a really shitty couple. Okay? And then along comes Ariana. And I think a lot of people hated Ariana. I think a lot. A lot of people did not like her and gave her shit. And I didn't clock it because I was like, you guys need to Kristen and Tom need to break up anyway. So get the fuck out of this. And I also felt bad for Ariana because she was getting more shit for doing what Tom had done because she was the other woman. And Kristen wasn't breaking up with Tom. So I wouldn't call it celebrating. It just happened. But I wouldn't say that we sat around going, you know what I love about this show? They have affairs. That's not what I said ever. Although, wait, hold on. Let me think that through. Is it that I liked that? Is it that I liked that they were all screwing each other and it was all messy and stuff? Was that what I enjoyed? I guess. But I don't know, guys. This is a reach for me. As much as people are like, everyone's had affairs, and I've seen that comment 100 million times, I still was like, yeah, but it's not like everyone got away with it and no one got any heat for it. Jax always gets heat. It's like we did react. So, this is such a reach for me. I have no makeup on either, by the way, guys. So this is what I look like without the sunglasses. Are you happy? Okay, so her saying I wanted to do my job well. So live inauthentically? Like that? Is that what she means? So first she says that she wasn't given a safe space to express her feelings. And now she's saying, but I wanted to do my job well. And I equated that with affairs and stuff. So inauthenticity. We've had plenty of boring seasons. We've had plenty of that. You thought this was your chance because you didn't have James as your boyfriend. You thought this was your chance to become the star of the show. So that's why you did that shit with Schwartz, isn't it? That's exactly why. So you just proven that it was completely for the cameras at Katie's expense. So that's trash. Okay? That's trash. And I know people are going to say people do shit for cameras all the time. That was extreme. That was extreme. That was heartless. And she's like, I'm shocked by all the hate I got when everyone else has been in affairs. I don't like that coming out of her mouth. I don't like that. I don't like her saying that because that's not up to her to decide. We did give people hell for having affairs. Kristen and Jax were, but this was early on before social media was what it is now. So you can't compare the way the audience handled it. We just didn't have as many platforms to annihilate people. But when Jax and Kristen, it came out that they had been sleeping together, or they had slept together twice, they got shit. And then when Schwartz cheated on Katie, well, I don't even think people gave Schwartz shit for cheating on Katie. Okay? No one cared because it was Katie, which is so sad. But I wouldn't say that, like, when someone had an affair, we were like, yay, I love affairs. That's not how we acted. You gotta own up to it.
How could you do this to me? Question mark.
Today's episode is sponsored by the revolutionary cookware company Hexclad. Because when you're choosing pots and pans, you have to pick between the performance of stainless steel, the durability of cast iron, or the convenience of nonstick. And I always went nonstick. By the way, I didn't know nonstick shouldn't go in a dishwasher. So no wonder all my pots and pans have been ruined throughout the years. Hexclad, though, you can have it all. They have this patented technology that finally gives you the benefits of all three in one pan. With nonstick, which is literally all I used to buy, you don't really get a good sear on your food. However, Hexclad's patented hybrid technology not only prevents food from sticking to the pan, it also has the incredible temperature control and the durability to last a lifetime. Gordon Ramsay has Hexclad in his restaurants and at home. So if it's good enough for Gordon Ramsay, right? Hexclad's 6-piece starter set is sort of the perfect set to enjoy the incredible versatility of their products. The set features 3 of their most popular pans with accompanying lids that can handle all of your pan cooking needs, whether it's eggs or burgers or steaks or sauces. Hexclad products are already an amazing value, but all of their products are also backed by a lifetime warranty. That's right. You will literally never have to buy another set of pots and pans for the rest of your life. Hexclad's patented laser-etched hexagonal steel ridges boost your searing power, while the nonstick valleys are constructed with high-grade nonstick Japanese coating and infused with diamond dust for extra toughness. There's diamonds, guys. They're diamond pans. These are the best pans you'll ever own. Hexclad just checks all the boxes when it comes to picking your cookware. They are metal utensil safe. Hello. Dishwasher safe and oven safe up to 500 degrees. They are non-toxic, which is huge, and induction ready. It even has a stay cool handle so you can saute with ease. Some would say that Gordon Ramsay is the toughest critic in the world, and these are the pots he uses. Get 10% off with code SHESPEAKS at hexclad.com. That's 10% off hexclad.com with code SHESPEAKS. Bon appetit. Let's eat with Hexclad's revolutionary cookware.
How could you do this to me? Question mark.
So my dad just recently moved here to LA from Florida. And it was extremely overwhelming for him because he had to find all the doctors here. And he's not in the best of health. So he needs the heart doctor, the general practitioner. He needs a few. So he was blown away when I showed him ZocDoc. We were able to find under his insurance every doctor he needed in a matter of a few hours. ZocDoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat almost any condition you're searching for. These docs all have verified reviews from actual real patients, not bots, and the average wait time to see a doctor booked on ZocDoc is between 24 and 48 hours. That's it. You can even score same-day appointments. And then you find the doctor that you want and you book them immediately, just with a few taps. No more waiting awkwardly on hold with the receptionist. And you know they're never coming back. As I said, my dad found all of his doctors on ZocDoc, and we were able to go through, look at reviews, make him feel comfortable because he also is concerned that they may not listen to his needs, etc. He's got a lot of needs, and he felt so comfortable. He's already seen all of the doctors that he booked through ZocDoc and loves them all. So go to ZocDoc.com/SheSpeaks and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then you can find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/SheSpeaks. ZocDoc.com/SheSpeaks.
Enough! Okay, then Rachel says that this whole thing has shown her that when she decided to, quote, betray Tom and tell the truth, it showed her that honesty is one of her core values and that will not be compromised again. I'm going to give her that. She is the only one between her and Tom who was honest. So she can take that. She's allowed. She can have that. I'll give it to her. But then Bethenny asks if she's forgiven herself. And I don't know, the way Rachel says, I have. Well, I guess she has to forgive herself. That's the only way to get through life. This just wasn't what I thought this interview was going to be. I guess we got that remorseful interview with Andy on those one-on-one sit-downs that he did with the three of them, but I don't know, it was still super fresh. She didn't finish the sentence and go, I have, but I still am so sorry to Ariana. She doesn't care about Ariana. That is clear. And we'll get to the next. I'm going to keep going through my notes because when the Ariana section comes up, point blank, and she's like, I wasn't even her friend. Girl. B asks why she wanted to do the sit down with her. Why me? And she goes, Bethenny, you are a force to be reckoned with. Mm-mm. And she says the network has been running to the bank and I haven't seen a penny. Well, that's not true. They paid you for the show. They paid you for the show. And again, Stassi, Kristen, Jax, they all lost everything as a result of something that happened off camera, too, by the way. So are they supposed to join in with this as well? And also, Bethenny says you got paid what my interns get paid. Someone posted that Rachel made $350,000. What do you pay your interns, Bethenny? I don't believe for a second you pay them that well, please. But then B talked about the addiction of reality TV and how producers get you to come back even when you really should not come back. This I'm going to give her. Okay, this I will give her. I thought it was so fucking irresponsible that they were trying with Rachel to come back. And she's like, I'm not coming back. And they're like, what about now? What about now? And I think that was, you're literally talking to someone who's still in a mental health facility. And you're like, are you going to come back and film? That was gross. And I'm so glad she didn't, because I'm like, this is irresponsible, y'all. Because the show is savage, Then Bethenny explains this part, and I'm going to pull the clip. Hold on. All right, I'm going to play this clip because I want to stop and go because there's a lot she says.
What happens is somebody could have a great season and everyone loves them and you're feeding off of that. That's the drug. That's the heroin. You take in the drug. You got the hit. And then all of a sudden something happens and the pendulum swings, because I always say it's a zero-sum game. Someone's always winning. Someone's always losing. Someone's always killing. Someone's always being killed. The people that end up in the middle get fired are our friends.
That line alone is a little ridiculous. There are plenty of people on every cast who don't have to provide huge, salacious stories every single season. And they don't all get demoted. They don't get fired. Okay? Bethenny thinks in such black and white terms and makes it fact. That is a fact. And Rachel has been on the show for at least 5 years, because I can't remember what season we meet her. And she hasn't brought a million things to the show every single season, and she's been asked back every time. So there's that. That's bullshit.
Somebody. So if you are winning, you're on top of the world and it seems great. And then all of a sudden you go to the bottom, and that's like an addict who hits rock bottom. And what do they want to do? They want to take another hit. And the producers are there, and this is a fact, to tell you, you know why, you should go back. Don't let them tell your story for you. You get to go back and you'll show them all next season. And that's how they get people who are miserable and on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication to go back in. Not to mention, many people ruin their reputations, and this is the only place that will have them. You have 55, 60-year-old women who couldn't really work anywhere else, much less have ruined their reputations. So this is a place that will take you back. And because if you do drugs or get drunk or have an affair, you get paid more. You're celebrated. So it's about this institution, this system that I've been talking, and I really do understand what you're saying. And it occurs to me that you're the villain. Ariana's the hero. Tom is another character who doesn't take the hit as much as you in this Scandival. But you're right. The realm is making a lot of money, and now it took 3 of you in a recipe to create this scandal as people who are partially produced. Let's just...
Okay. Number one, do you think producers get paid a ton of money to do these shows? No. So they're just as involved in the process and creation, according to both of them, saying that it's not like the whole thing is produced and fake, but it's pretty manufactured for story a lot of the time. Well, those producers aren't getting residuals. Those producers work harder than the cast. They're not in front of the camera, though, right? So if I'm going to go on camera and I'm going to reap those rewards, such as sponsorships and like Instagram influency, TikTok influency, things like that, then that's their reward, right? That's why they want to be on camera, and producers don't want to be on camera. Producers are like, no, I just want to make the drama appear on camera, but not be the drama appearing on camera. Fine. But I think that if you're going to start talking about reality TV and how it needs a union and everyone needs to be protected, why are you leaving out the fucking crew? The crew is just as vital in this. When she talked about how there was 3 of them in that Scandival, no, there was 4. If you're going off what you guys are saying, and that's production. But they're not going to get extra money for this. They're just going to get the job. They're going to get the money they're paid for to do the job they're hired for. But Bethenny is so black and white in this whole thing. It's very frustrating. And then the way she categorizes how Rachel's the villain, Ariana's the hero, and Tom's another player. What else is there in the world? When something like that happens, that's how we feel. Rachel was getting a good edit, too, up to that point. She's getting a very favorable, kind edit where they showed a person going through something and working through things, and it was a sympathetic cut for her. She was doing things that were hard to defend. Like having Katie tell her it would really hurt me if you and Schwartz were to hook up. And she said, well, I did it anyway. So how is she? What are you talking about? You didn't watch the show, clearly, Bethenny, because that's not what they attempted to do. That's what she gave them. And we all know what a bad edit can look like. You know what I mean? Like, we're savvy enough now to know, and like, ooh, this is a bad edit. It looked like they were trying to give her a decent edit, but there's only so much you can do with it. The actions are the actions. So to simplify it, like, Ariana gets to be the hero. Well, she was the one who was unfortunately betrayed. So I'm sorry, but like that, this is just how life works too. You can't just keep saying that, like, because reality TV is captured on camera, or reality on reality TV is captured on camera, that therefore now it needs to be different and exempt from the way we would handle everything in life. So then Rachel says that producers told her that you get paid based off your performance from the season prior. Quote, so that set me up to want to perform well. I said this could be my season. I could really stand out. I'm single for the first time, and I took direction well. Ain't nobody direct you. Ain't nobody told you to go do that, unless we're about to find out that producers were like, you should totally go for Schwartz. We did find out that producers moved people off of a table so that Schwartz and Rachel could sit down and talk at Sheena's wedding. As much as I don't love that, it's also like, well, if they say they want to go have a conversation, they need a good shot. So that's fair. It's not like they are saying you need to go and kiss him or anything like that. And also the sickening part is that she was kissing Tom Sandoval in like the hallways and sneaking it because was it Sheena's makeup artists or wedding dress designers? That's what it was. They saw them. They saw them kissing. And so like I just really don't I can't wrap my head around Rachel saying like it's some sort of it like takes the pressure or the responsibility off of her that producers told me, you know, you can make a lot more money if you really give them something good. And so she's like, so I did. And it's their fault that I did that. Everyone knows that if you are the star of a season, obviously you're going to be more valuable. But she doesn't know how to be a star naturally because she's not a star naturally. She's so boring to listen to. So sorry, that's on you. So you thought, okay, what's another way I can do it since my personality is not going to get me there? I'll go and I'll try to hook up with Tom Schwartz, even though I'm about to have an affair with Tom Sandoval. I'm going to keep that storyline going because it's really working for me and it's going to get me a lot of camera time. That's just called being an asshole. Sorry, but it is. We've had plenty of people on reality television over the years that don't do that. If you choose to be on reality TV, then you kind of know what makes you good or bad at your job, if you will. So you said, yeah, I want to do that. You've been on the show for years. And now, it's because of that. It's because they tell you, oh, you'll make more money. You make more money depending on how you perform this season prior. And so then you thought, oh, okay, I could really stand out. This is my season. We could fucking tell. We could tell you were so inauthentic and it was hard to watch. I have to calm down. Bethenny brings up how she made a relationship on reality TV, Jason, and friendships you see, unlikely friendships, but they're not friendships, they're alliances. Listen. You can't fake the friendships. They have documented friendships. They go to festivals, they hang out, they are together all the time. And then Rachel has the fucking nerve to say it's a narrative that her and Ariana were best friends. Quote, we were acquaintances that became friends through the show 5 years ago, at least. She would encourage me to pursue whatever I was pursuing, and that was all great, but we never had a deep conversation that I would have with a best friend. What do you mean? You cried about your pageants, and it didn't seem like that was the first time Ariana heard you talk about that. And she says, and it's painful to think I hurt her in this way because that wasn't my intention. I just got wrapped up in this. But we were not best friends. That's fucked up. We watched you guys be friends. We watched her defend you before she knew anything. So now you're going to shit on that? What? I don't think Ariana would have considered you not her friend just because you didn't. Okay, I got to move on because I'm like heated about this. Sheena was one of her best friends, she says. She offered her apartment to her when she was figuring out the next moves with James. She says that Sheena created the narrative that she was this sister I never had, and she was like a mother to me, and that she put me up for free, which she claims is not true. And I also did her podcasts, and she said that the podcast I did with her was her #1 most listened to podcast. Well, this is also why I'm saying, if you're saying that, then Bethenny better be cutting your ass in for some ad sales because she's making money. And then she says it's upsetting that she's creating this narrative that I took advantage of her when, and then Bethenny fills in, it was mutually beneficial. Okay. Rachel, Sheena has had everyone on her fucking podcast. Okay. How was she going to know that your podcast She was telling you that to be nice. Like, that's the most number one listened to podcast. She didn't do that thinking it would be the number one listened to podcast. She just, like she had on Tom Schwartz, like she has on everybody. She has on all of her famous, ish friends. That's what Sheena does. That's what being in this group of friends is. And also, James has not done it. Even though Brock, when he called them to be like, why are you guys picking Rachel over me and like having her on the podcast? James said Brock's response was, come on the podcast, which I could totally see Brock saying. But this is really fucked up. For her to be taking this stance, it's like she heard what Bethenny was saying and she's just playing off of that. So now she's discrediting all these friendships. This is really sad. This is fucked up. And I get that she feels betrayed by a lot of them, but they're betrayed by her. It starts with that betrayal. It would be really hard for me to process what I did if I was Rachel, for sure. But the fact that she's looking back, you literally did live with Sheena. Why is that mutually beneficial to both of you? She claims she paid rent. Why would Sheena lie about that? Why would Sheena make that up? But also, it's still a very kind thing to do. It's still very nice to do that. So why do you need to discredit what was clearly a friendship that we saw? I mean, is she saying that when they started filming and Sheena was like, we're like sisters, whatever, that was all made up? Because you went along with it. You basically dressed alike and you had Sheena like having your back the whole time. We watched this, and now you're gonna fucking... Oh my God, I'm moving on. Oh my God.
How could you do this to me? Question mark.
You guys are probably sick of hearing me talk about how much I love this company's products, but I do this because I love you guys, okay? If you don't already know, Kitsch makes all kinds of amazing beauty products from head to toe, but what it's all about with Kitsch is preventative care, okay? When I found out that you should not just be sleeping on a typical pillowcase, but you should be sleeping on a satin pillowcase because not only does it help prevent breakage in your hair, it helps prevent wrinkles. I was like, duh. I've never looked back. They also taught me that if I'm using hair ties that are rough on the hair, like your typical elastic bands, not good either. You want the satin on those hair ties. It has been a game changer for me. I've loved this company for years, and I just need everyone to know, especially if you're in your 20s, do it now before it's too late. Because once the wrinkles are there, it is so hard to get rid of them. Trust me. And the best part about Kitsch is it's budget friendly. So whatever your budget is, whatever your skin type is, your hair type, Kitsch is all about little indulgences morning, noon, and night at the right price. And they were started in 2010, female founded, self-funded. They sold hair ties door to door with a little hustle and a dream, but now they're sold in over 20,000 retail locations. You have heard me talk about the satin pillowcases. They also do them in caps and eye masks. So this is great for your hair and skin while you sleep, because think of how many hours we sleep on our face and on our heads and on our hair. Protect it. You may have also heard about the heatless satin rollers. They were the original, no more heat damage, wake up or just leave it in for a few hours and you've got amazing waves. But the latest Kitsch viral craze is the rice water shampoo bars, which can improve your overall hair growth and density. People are like, I'm never using bottle shampoo again. And their hair feels and looks 1,000% better in between washes. Plus, right now, for a limited time, you can live your Barbie dream life with the Barbie by Kitsch collection, featuring Kitsch's best-selling satin pillowcases in the iconic Barbie pink. I just recently, maybe 2 weeks ago, re-upped my pillowcases. They got some amazing colors in for the spring. I got the sage and the blush pink, but I'm thinking I need to get that Barbie pillow because I like it. Right now, Kitsch is offering you 30% off your entire order at mykitsch.com/shespeaks. That's right. 30% off anything and everything at mykitsch, spelled kitsch.com/shespeaks. One more time, mykitsch.com/shespeaks for 30% off your entire order.
How could you do this to me? Question mark.
Before I moved out of my last house that I shared with my sister, and we had this huge ugly backyard. And I was about to move out, and along came this sponsor, Fast Growing Trees. And I told my sister, I'm like, I'm not going to benefit from this, but you can literally go onto fastgrowingtrees.com. And there are like thousands of easy to grow plants, shrubs, and tree varieties expertly curated for your unique climate and needs. We've always said we wanted to plant a bunch of trees to hide the nastiness of the backyard, but that just doesn't that sound like the hardest thing in the world? Like, you don't have to go wait in a line. You don't have to haul heavy plants around. You can just go on fastgrowingtrees.com, order online, and your plants arrive at your door in just a few days. And if you're not necessarily the planting expert, Fast Growing Trees have plant experts, and they're just a Zoom, a chat, or a phone call away. They're always eager to help. They can even walk you through your entire garden to help solve problems you're having with plants and trees. Hello. And these experts have specialized degrees and training to help troubleshoot from root to leaf. These experts have specialized degrees and training to help troubleshoot this stuff. It's like telehealth for your plants. So my sister ordered a lemon tree, and it was delivered to the house in a few days. Here's the other thing, though. This is important. They have this Alive and Thrive 30-day guarantee thing. So everything does look great and is fresh out of the box. Because that was another thing I was like, what if it gets here? Because sometimes you never know with deliveries. Join almost 2 million happy Fast Growing Trees customers. Go to fastgrowingtrees.com/bravo to get 15% off your entire order. 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com/bravo.
Enough! B asks where she's at with Ariana, and she thankfully says, I don't expect her to forgive me, so that's good. B asks how real she thinks Tom and Ariana were. Okay, guys. I need to breathe before I get into this. Rachel laughs, and she's like, I would not have been involved in this if I thought that there was longevity to their relationship. People close to them could see they weren't the way they portrayed themselves to be on camera. And Tom always told me they're a brand, they're an image. They work together to make brand deals, and they are business partners. Okay. You mean like how Tom got in on her book deal? You mean like how Tom basically piggybacks off Ariana's deals? Is that that's what he meant? But you have a friend in Ariana. And who was saying they were not the way they appeared? Because there's a big group of friends there, and not all of them are legit. A lot of them are just some creepy hangers-oners that they haven't discovered as creepy hanger-oners yet. So who was saying this? Because all the people we know, like Logan, who is Ariana's best friend, she didn't know that they were just a facade. You're still just believing what Tom told you? You didn't figure out that Tom was lying to you? Because Ariana is telling you point blank, that's not what happened. That's not the situation I thought I was in. And you still are like, well, I mean, they weren't even really who they claimed to be. And Bethenny, this is where Bethenny pissed me off. She's like, they still live together? Does America know that? Yeah, bitch, we do. Okay, we fucking do. Rachel did give him keys to her apartment so that he had a place to go, but he chose to stay in the house because he's a fucking asshole. She's not surprised by this living arrangement because, quote, it's been this way, an inauthentic couple. So question for you, Rachel. Are you accusing Ariana of pretending to be hurt and pretending to be betrayed? Because if they were an inauthentic couple and you don't believe that Ariana really would be upset, you're accusing her basically of pretending and lying and pulling at everyone's heartstrings when honestly they weren't even really a couple. So you still believe that Tom has been telling you the truth and was telling you the truth, even though all of this has happened. Huh? And then Bethenny co-signs and goes, so the breakup isn't as deep either. So you haven't listened to anything Ariana said, Bethenny? You're just going in cold when you have all of the opportunities in the world to see the Call Her Daddy interview, the countless interviews that she's done talking about it, the reunion, the final episode, the bonus final episode. What do you mean? You are victim blaming at this point, Bethenny, by not listening to Ariana and then co-signing whatever Rachel is saying to you in this interview, because you need this interview to prove that you actually have a point here about reality TV exploiting people, blah, 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 blah. Ugh. Okay. B asks how she feels watching Ariana get all these deals, the talk show circuits and everything. And Rachel goes, part of me says, good for you, but it is hurtful to me just to think that my nature is very kind and forgiving and understanding of other people. So the concept of me being the ultimate reality TV villain just blows my mind. And the way that she spoke to me at the reunion was uncalled for. Bethenny goes, it was too far. And then Bethenny says, we're going to get to the reunion because that's when I became invested in this as a concept. What does that mean? What is this? Invested in this story between them? And then what is as a concept? Was this what made you think, oh, I'll do this reality TV reckoning? Because this is how I feel now with Bethenny. There are people that capitalize off of tragedies, because honestly, I kind of did too. It wasn't intentional. I was already watching Vanderpump Rules. That was already the plan. Then this all happened, and my views shot up, my downloads shot up, and I didn't intend to, but I did kind of capitalize off it or benefit from it. How about that? It wasn't intentional. But Bethenny is like, there hasn't been the other side told yet, and that's going to draw all kinds of viewership and listeners. So, as a concept, why don't I take this very popular story and side with the quote villain, because I'm here to expose reality TV, and this is the way I can expose it by showing she's not really a villain. It's the system that's the problem. But then at the same time, I'm going to benefit like crazy and make it a 3-part interview so I can rake in the money. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. Then Bethenny brings up the FaceTime, the recording. She sent this to Tom. She did this with Tom the night before the Watch What Happens live appearance. And I cannot believe that. And clearly this was the first time it happened because she was like, I was feeling a little naughty and I was watching some adult films. And I, reached out to Tom and we had some fun. And I expected there to be privacy in that moment. As she should. It is such a fucking betrayal that he recorded her. Like, that should be done deal. Done fucking deal. You know, even if it's someone that you're intimate with and you've been intimate with, you should be aware that they're recording that. Because it's one thing for them to see something, it's another thing to have it documented. You know? And so she talks about how the next day, because the Watch What Happens live day was a big press day, and she's like, I thought it was such a success, and I was celebrating with Sheena, and I had just told my hairstylist, I'm ready for anything. Mind you, this was the point in which she was getting all this hell for hooking up with Schwartz. And so she was saying, I'm ready for anything, because she's like, I'm going to get all this hell, but I'm ready for it. Bring it on. Okay? Mind you, the same day of interviews, she had said that Ariana was one of her really good friends. That day, Watch What Happens live day, earlier in the day. So, there's shit documented with you saying it. Literally 5 minutes later, she gets the text from Ariana with 2 screen-recorded videos and a message that said, you're dead to me. Duh. Like, Bethenny, how do you know this story and you're like solely siding with Rachel? What she did was bad. And I know she keeps saying, you know, we're not taking the ownership off of you. What you did was bad. I don't buy that. I don't believe that's what you're saying. So Rachel walks her through the story of how Ariana found out. And Bethenny goes, was she being filmed during this? And I was like, how do you not know this entire fucking story? You know? And then Rachel goes, because Ariana had the video, I was really scared that, she would send it out. And the reason that they hadn't told Ariana up to that point is because they could not come to an agreement on when they started the affair and what they were going to tell her. And again, Bethenny doesn't know that this had been going on for 7 months. When that was news to her, I was like, bitch, get off of this microphone. Girl, I've said bitch too many times. I'm sorry. I'm not calling her a bitch. It's just like, it's coming out. Because it's like, bitch, what are you doing? You didn't know it was 7-month affair? What'd you think it was one time? Like, Bethenny, you freaked out and showed Luann a picture of her guy kissing another girl, and that was the ultimate betrayal, and you wanted her to call off her engagement. Now, what's a little 7-month affair? I hope that through this, Bethenny was like, oh, wait, hold on. I didn't realize it was 7 months. Because, girl, then Rachel tells her the story of how it happened with the falling out of the phone. Then Bethany's like, is this what you believe, or is this what she said? And she's like, no, this is like what was said from Tom and from Ariana. It's been everywhere, lady. Bethenny doesn't believe that this could be a real story. It's just like too coincidental. But honey, your friend just happened to be at the Regency and happened to take a picture of Tom making out with some chick. So I don't understand what's so hard to believe right now. Ugh, God. Rachel says that a lot of people seem to have seen the video, and that sucks because some people have shared details of it, and that fucking sucks. Unfortunately, I don't agree with Ariana sending it to anyone. And I know that they're like silenced about it and they'll never admit who received it, but I can only imagine how shocked you are when you see it, and like your knee-jerk reaction is to like send it to someone you know because you're like your mind can't process it, right? And I feel bad for her for that one, but that's all Tom's fault. That's all Tom's fault. The only person to blame for that is Tom. Why did he record it? There should be no fucking recording of it. So she talks about going through like how she met Tom and how she only had one boyfriend prior, but he was like a non-committal college boyfriend, but she did love him. But she met James at 21. And then, Tom came along and offered her something that she hadn't had. She said that now she doesn't think she was in love with Tom or that he was in love with her. But she says, quote, I was filming in a tumultuous environment. I needed validation and someone to hear what I was going through. And here comes Tom, who gives me the time of day to explore what I was feeling. Yeah, we know. We figured that's what happened. And you were filming in a tumultuous environment by your own creation. You did it. You were the one who kept going for Schwartz. You kept doing it over and over again. And yeah, it was going to be tumultuous. And Katie was actually pretty nice to you compared to what we thought she would do. Okay? And that's it. That's the first part. Don't worry. I'll definitely be covering all 3 parts. Because Ooh, you guys. Oh my God. I'll make sure that Pia is available. I think we're getting it tomorrow, right? Here, let me look. Someone sent me something right before I hopped on. Let me see what it was. Hold on. It was this. Yeah, Entertainment Tonight has learned. Okay, yeah, part 2 will be released tomorrow. And today is August 16th. It's a Wednesday. So tomorrow will be Thursday and part 3 on Friday. The entire interview and video will be released on Friday or Saturday. Oh my God. And the same person just sent me the TMZ report that Brittany and Sam Ashkari are split and headed for divorce. They have separated after a nuclear argument that involves allegations of cheating. Well, no shit. Damn. The news just don't stop, does it? Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up, but here's what I'm gonna do though, guys. Pia and I recorded an entire episode yesterday, and I don't want you guys not to hear that because it had all of our feels on it. So I'm gonna play a little bit of it for everyone, and for the full video, it'll be exclusively on the Patreon for Grand Dame and the Moment tiers. So if you want to hear the whole thing, there you go. But I'm just gonna tack it on at the end of this. So enjoy that. Like, Pia and I had recorded an episode the day that Scandival broke. We had just finished recording a recap episode. We ended it. I looked at my phone and I had the notification about Scandival, and we just hopped right back on and we're like, forget what we just said. This is a whole different development. So all right, so enjoy this episode pre-Bethenny Rachel interview. It'll just be a segment of it, and then if you want to hear the whole thing, please head over to the Patreon. Link is in the bio. Guys, love you, mean it. I'm still spinning, and I'm going to try to get Pia to join me for the rest of them. Okay? Bye! Now let's get to business and what we're actually here to talk about.
Yes.
Which is our very complicated thoughts on Vanderpump Rules.
I'm also wearing Katie's and what's Ariana's merch, the Fuck Me shirt. Mm-hmm. It does take a long time to come.
It does take a long time to come.
But
it does take a long time. But anyway, so I have something I want to say, and I want to hear how you feel about it.
Okay.
I'm gonna this is something I came to the conclusion of like last night, and I'm like, I want to see. Okay, so. Okay. Part of why I was like, my knee-jerk reaction to them like all filming scenes together and being in pictures together is I feel like abandoned. I feel like left out. Yeah. Because we were so included in all the social media aspects. So like that part, it's like, well, now I don't know anything.
Right.
And while I do that, maybe a little bit of that's okay. But then I was starting to get like kind of pissed too, and like feel very resentful because I was like, I defended Ariana and everyone again. Like when anyone would say, oh, it's not a big deal, they all cheat, I'd be like, you don't get it. And I would go to bat for them. Yeah. Now, mind you, I realized something. They didn't ask me to do that. That was just how I handled it.
That's a fair point.
And so I'm like, maybe I'm more embarrassed that I was like, oh, no, we're never talking to them again. And then they're like back together and I'm like, oh, well, I don't know if it's like it's really their fault because I'm sure they've been forced to have conversation after conversation after conversation. And when we see it, it'll be like, all right, I'm just guessing.
Okay. I was with you and then I'm like, and then I quickly changed my mind again.
Okay.
Not that, but I am still with you. Okay, it's very complicated. My feelings as well.
Yeah.
So you actually made it. Thank you for making that point because I didn't think about that. No one asked us. We all put our 2 cents in. No one asked us a single question. Correct, but not though because the way in which they went about talking about it on social media felt like they did want us to participate. They did want us to join in actively, and they were enjoying that we were helping them and coming to their defense. So they may have not initially given us the invitation, but they gladly accepted our presence. And so, therefore, I do think that the way in which some of their reaction to us being hurt or confused or a little upset by seeing some of these pictures of them hanging out and seemingly getting along again, like the way in which they're kind of talking to us like we're crazy. It almost feels gaslight, like we're being gaslit. I think that it could have been handled better. Mostly when I say handled better, I'm talking about Sheena and Lala specifically. Because James, the thing is, I've seen James hanging out with Sandoval in pictures, and I don't feel as angry toward him because I don't, at least from my knowledge, and I don't know if you've seen anything, I don't see him actively taunting the fans like being upset with us. Like,
what has Lala done?
Lala, well, Lala mostly was just when we were all upset with Sheena for the first photos that came out with her.
Yeah.
So she was like kind of coming at us like whatever about Sheena.
Okay.
And then Sheena went on her rants, and then she continues to go on her rants because we got a little upset when we saw Lala's pictures with Tom.
Yeah.
So I feel like they have a little bit. I feel like Lala and Sheena specifically have been irritating me, because, and also I've listened to their podcasts. They have this like cavalier attitude, like this is our. I'm trying to think of how to say it. It's almost like they're just like, what did you expect us to do? Type of situation, but like, what did you expect us to feel like when we see this? And you're like, you know what I mean? Like, give us a little grace. Like, we're trying to figure it out. Like, I feel like they're a little too. I think that what I'm trying to figure out in my thoughts is I feel like they're too defensive.
I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, would you mind leaving me a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform you are listening? If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget there's the super thanks option down at the bottom, the little button with the $ and the heart. And also I'm on buymeacoffee.com/SheSpeaksBravo if you want to buy me a little coffee or 2 or 5. And my Patreon, that is where I'm covering all of the classic Bravo jams. If you want to follow me over there and subscribe, link is in the description. And follow me on Instagram and TikTok at She Speaks Bravo. And whoever the guest was for today, all their information is always in the episode description. So if you want to follow them and check them out, check there for the info. And any of the sponsor codes that I mentioned in this episode will also be in the description. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.